Catholic health organizations operate both as civil corporations and as ministries of the Church. As such, they must comply with civil and canon law.
Canon law is a term used to describe the legislation of the Catholic Church. The term canon originally comes from the Greek word meaning a norm, and much of the universal legislation of the Church, and universal means applying everywhere since the Church exists in a large number of nations and societies, is in the current code of canon law promulgated in 1983. And it's complemented by additional norms issued by the Holy Father since that time. And the whole purpose of canon law is to provide for good order in the Church, to provide a church community that is described in an orderly way, to describe its parts, and to provide processes that lead to orderly decision-making and also processes that enables the Church to resolve disputes. Canon law has a theological foundation. The actual doctrinal basis of the code is, to a certain extent, found in the teachings of the Council, and the code is kind of a translation of the doctrinal and pastoral statements of the Council into legal terms.
A prevalent sponsorship model is called a public juridic person, or PJP for short. PJPs are created by canon law to carry out a work of the Church.
Sponsorship is a term that's used to describe the relationship between the canonical obligations of a juridic person and their expression in the civil law documents. A juridic person in canon law is, first of all, a creation of the law. And actually, it resembles a corporation as found in civil society. They are subject to the rights and obligations that are contained in the law, and the rights and obligations of the juridic person are distinct from the individuals who represent it. A public juridic person operates in the name of the Church, and the activities of a public juridic person are a work of the Church, and not just to the individuals who act on its behalf. This implies accountability. The property of a public juridic person is considered church property, and it's subject to the canons regulating church property.
Juridic persons carry out the work of the Church and hold church property in trust.
They are bound by the responsibilities of administrators that are outlined in the Code of Canon Law. The most specific outline of those responsibilities are in Canon 1284, which generally describes their responsibilities as having the diligence of a good householder.
Reserved powers are another important part of the canonical structure of PJPs. Reserved powers protect the Church's interest in mission, Catholic identity, property, dissolution, and other vital matters.
When you talk about reserved powers and what are the essential pieces to be reserved, they have to do with the mission and philosophy of the organization. So you want to kind of be sure that you've got the ability to say what that is, and that no one else can change the nature of the organization. You want to reserve those powers around the bylaws and the articles of incorporation so that, again, they can't be changed without you approving that. You still want to be able to be sure that you have the ability, and only you have the ability, to change the basic structure of the organization and the purpose. You want to be able to name and have responsibility to name the leaders of the organization, to name the sponsor group. We have also reserved the right to name the sponsor members of each of those local delivery systems. The last major category of reserved rights is going to be around major transactions, and that when they reach a certain level, you want to be able to know that you have to approve those, or that if there's going to be a major joint venture, they can't joint venture Bon Secours Health System without you approving it. We, in our sponsored model, have added to that reserve right list the ability to approve the structure and the components of ministry formation.
The reserved powers to Catholic Health Ministries are the same that they are for most public juridic persons in terms of appointment of members, approval of any change to the purpose of the founding principles of Catholic Health Ministries, any amendments to the statutes and bylaws, approval of the formation program, periodic reports to Rome that are important, and of course suppression.
Sponsors work in relationship with others to carry out their responsibilities.
Sponsors do that in a variety of ways, through policies, through procedures, through reserved powers. But most importantly, they do that in partnership with leadership, with governance, with management, with all the co-workers, and with the community at large. What's a wonderful gift of the ministry of sponsorship, it's not about holding something over others. It's about participating with each other to continue this reconciling mission of Jesus.